Deerfield Beach on South Florida's Gold Coast is renowned for its incredible resorts and endless sunny beaches. But a stone's throw away, just beyond a slice of sea foam, another world awaits. This is an undiscovered world, a diver's paradise. Consider what's available here: wrecks, reefs, and an amazing array of marine life and coral that rivals any island. Only a scenic 15-minute ride from Sullivan Park to the inlet and 10 minutes to most of the dive sites makes for a relaxing start for your dives. The dives we do here in South Florida consist of wreck dives, where we tie in a descent line for your convenience, and these are followed by a drift dive, where you and your group simply descend and drift along with your own flag and float. Wherever you surface, the Lady Go diver will pick you up. This kind of diving will spoil you. And for the more experienced diver, there are many opportunities for technical diving, like the Hydro Atlantic. On December 7, 1987, a ship of huge proportions sank in a storm just 1 mile east of the Boca Raton Inlet. Lying in 172 feet of water, the 320-foot-long freighter is a real shipwreck, not a diver-prepared artificial reef wreck. A huge crane stands midship with one of the ship's main anchors at its base. The winch is still on the bow, and the engine is still in the engine room. This is a real wreck. Her deck is still crowded with equipment, pipes that traverse the old hull from one pump to another, cranes and giant winches still laden with cables. Because of this and more, the Hydro has been voted one of the 10 best technical dives in the United States, and it's only 20 minutes from Dixie Divers. The MillerLight, a 186-foot freighter, was sank in 164 feet of water on May 17, 1987 off Pompano Beach. It should be emphasized that although parts of the MillerLight are in recreational diving depths, this wreck should only be visited by properly trained, experienced divers. In 1957, this German refrigerator cargo vessel was commissioned the Minihorn. It was a beautiful ship. She was in service for almost 30 years before her demise. The Sucre, a 200-foot freighter, was sank in 220 feet of water on May 13, 1996. The RBJ wreck. On May 18, 1986, the 130-feet U.S. Army dredge Corey and Chris was sunk as an artificial reef as part of the Broward County Artificial Reef Program. Later, on May 15, 1988, the Ronald B. Johnson, a 226 freighter, was to be sunk in close proximity to this vessel. At the time of the scuttle, there were strong currents and things did not go as planned. As it turned out, the Ronald B. Johnson landed right on top of the Corey and Chris and at a 90-degree orientation. As far as the divers are concerned, the general consensus is that things went better than planned. These two wrecks make a spectacular sight as the diver descends and the two ships come into view. And for the recreational deep diver, there are many opportunities, like the Rodeo 25. This Dutch fighter was built in 1956 and sunk in May of 1990. She is 215 feet long and has a 33-foot beam. She was sunk while almost 100,000 spectators watched. Today, this twin-mast fighter sits upright in 125 feet of water. Just south of the Jane Dorman Artificial Reef, 1.5 miles from shore, just outside the third reef line, the 175-foot Coast Guard buoy tender Hollyhock was sunk February 20th, 1990, in memory of Captain Dan Garnsey, a long Broward County resident and owner of the drift fishing boat Helen S. Garnsey, died in the year Captain Dan was placed on the bottom. This ship spent most of her 53-year career as the Coast Guard buoy tender Hollyhock. The sinking was delayed for more than a month because, ironically, the high seas caused by January storms were too rough to sink a ship.